Hey everyone, it's Jen at Ink Paper Rubber. Well, I have something to show you today. This actually came in yesterday, but I didn't even have a chance to open the box until this morning. This is a new tool from My Sweet Petunia, and of course My Sweet Petunia is the creator of the Misty, which we all know and love, and they have a new product called the Cut-A-Line. And what this is, you get two different rulers in there, but these are a lot more than just rulers. You get this short one that's 8 inches, and you get a longer one that is 15 inches. And you can see they have all, let me put it down here, it's kind of hard on my red pink mat there. They have all your different ruler measurements on there. It's got it both on the top and the bottom. It's also a zero centering ruler, but you can see it has all of these other grid lines on there, and what really makes it unique is it has a slit down the middle of it. Hey there, Jan, hope you're staying warm today. And both of the short ruler and the long ruler are the same, so you can choose whichever one best fits your project. But what I am, and there's a number of different things you can do with this. There is a video that shows it, but I'm especially interested in using this to trim out small pieces of paper. Here is a sentiment that I stamped, and I wanted to trim this out really closely to the edges of the words so that it didn't have a lot of extra space top and bottom. And here's one that I've gone ahead and stamped on a little bit bigger piece of paper, and I am going to hand the camera over to Manna, and we're going to walk around because I want to show you some of the problems in the past with trimming something like this. First of all, of course, you could just use scissors, and that's what I do a lot of times. Scissors can give you a fairly straight cut, but not exact. But we have a number of different paper cutters, and we're going to come over here. And one of my favorites is our guillotine cutter. We use this a lot. But the problem is when you have a really small piece of paper like this and you want to trim it, I can push it over here, but when I pull this down and the finger guard there, you can see my fingers in the way. So I either have to tape it in place because I have to take my finger out of there to trim it. And so it's really easy for that to move and not get the exact cut that you want. All right, let's come over here because we have our Caterpillar, which is the newest trimmer that we have, and we really do like this one a lot as well. It has lots of different measurements up there. But again, if you have anything on this one that's smaller than 1 inch, you can see I don't have anything up there where I can push my paper up against, so that it's hard for me to get it on there completely straight to make sure that I get a nice straight cut. So in the past, what we usually have resorted to in cases like this is to use our Fiskars trimmer. And I will be honest with you, I generally try to avoid using this trimmer for a couple of reasons. One of the biggest of which is that the blades on this get dull. The guillotine trimmer and the Caterpillar trimmer, you never have to replace the blades. They are self-sharpening. But this one, the blades do wear out and you have to replace them, and it's just a little bit of a pain. And on this one, if you want to do it, you can put it in there, and as long as it's not too narrow, you've got your guides up there to keep it flush with the top. But you have to kind of adjust it, and you have to look at that wire in there which shows you where it's going to cut, and keep on adjusting until you get it. And even still, you can see I don't really have any place to hold that paper. I can hold this down, but a lot of times as you pull the blade down, if it catches on the paper, it makes it go wonky. The other problem with all of those is if you haven't stamped this perfectly straight on your piece of paper, so it's not completely square, even if you have this up against the top when you trim it, if your sentiment is not square, then it's still not going to be perfectly straight. So let's move over here to the Cut-A-Line and let me show you what I'm working on. Actually, I'm going to change here since this is small, is I'm working on a self-healing craft mat. And I'm going to go ahead and change to the black one since the numbers on here are in pink. It's going to make it a little bit easier for me to see. So again, we have the slit right there in the center of it. And so I can position this until I get where that slit is about what I want. And you can see all these grid lines on here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to align the closest grid line that I can to the bottom of my letters. I'm not doing it the ones that drop down below. I'm not sure what they call that. I know there's an actual term for that in typography, but I am actually lining these up with the bottom of those other letters on there. So let me make sure I have all those straight there. And I'm going to take my craft knife and I'm just going to hold down firmly on there. And this is just a really thin slot in here that my blade fits in. And I'm just going to go in there and trim that out. And then I can come and I can do the same thing on the other side here. I'll position my slit up above there, and this time I'm going to align one of those grid lines to the tops of those letters. And then again, I'm just going to come in, whoops, I need to hold on my paper, not off my paper, and trim, and I have this nicely trimmed sentiment. The other thing that you can do with it, if you need really thin strips of paper, you can take this and I haven't played with this a lot. Okay, so I'm going to align this second line here with the edge of my paper, and because I've got pink and red, I'm going to kind of start below it and move up until I have it on there. And then I'm going to hold firmly onto my ruler over here in my paper, and I'm just going to cut down, and I can even do it a couple of times if I need to. Don't have to cut all the way through in one pass. And you can see there that I can cut really thin strips of paper with that. So anyhow, I am really excited to get this in. I think it's going to be a great help anytime we have to cut thin strips or we have a sentiment that we want to trim out. I think that the cut-a-line ruler will make this so much easier to do. So you get both of the rulers in a package. It is $20 for both rulers, and I think you're going to find this to be a really helpful tool in your craft room. These have been added to our online shop. If you go to the in-stock and ready-to-ship products under miscellaneous manufacturers, you will find the cut-a-line available for purchase in there. Of course, you can always call or come by the store to purchase as well. Alrighty, that's all I have for you today. I will be back later today. I'm expecting some more shipments in, and as soon as I get those and get them in and set up, then I will be back and share those with you as well. All right. Thanks, everybody. Have a great day. Goodbye.